With Nancy, it is. Joining me right now is my guest, OKECHUKWU, ONYEJIUWA, a management consultant. We'll be looking at Christmas and holiday spending. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm doing great.
Christmas is coming, isn't it?
Yeah.
No more teachers. Those days we used to sing, you know, as students, we used to look forward to the Christmas season. I can't even remember that song again. No more teachers, canes, goodbye teacher, goodbye school. I am going to my holiday.
Holidays coming.
Yes, holidays coming, you know.
Very wonderful season.
Very wonderful
This
season.
is the best season in the year, the very best.
In what terms?
It affects everybody. Everybody is in the mood. Everybody feels it. Beggars feel it. People in orphanage feel it. People in homes feel it. People on the streets feel it. People who are working in the offices, everybody
feel it. As in what kind of feeling? Is it just the euphoria of the atmosphere, the Christmas atmosphere, the euphoria, oh, that this is a celebration period? What kind of feeling? Because feeling is different from feeling. We have different types of feeling. If you fill my pockets with some money, that's a kind of feeling. So what kind of feeling are you talking about?
Don't forget that workers get 13th month.
Do they still get it?
Yes. A lot of people pay. Don't tell me AIT doesn't pay.
13th month?
Yes.
I can hear people from the other side laugh a lot. But how many companies observe that 13th month? What I know is that, okay, this season is a season where you get calls or hampers will be dropping for you, or you understand what I'm, or bags of rice.
Exactly.
Perhaps by the end of this week or by next week, we should be seeing the bags of rice in trucks.
The bags the rice is already
rams, sometimes
going. Cow.
But when the going was good, cows.
Even now, the going is not so wonderful, but Christmas must be celebrated, and it must be said in a good way, in a big way. So
what kind of feeling are you talking about? Yeah.
The feeling of some activity coming. You know, children are getting Christmas clothes, and when Christmas clothes comes, there's excitement in the air, whether you like it or not. Anything you send your children, they are quick to do. Go and sweep, they are quick to sweep. Go and wash plate, they are quick to wash plate, because they don't want any story to anything that to say for you to come around and say, oh, because you are not obedient, you will not get your Christmas clothes, you will not get your Christmas shoe, or your Christmas watch, your Christmas sunshade, all those kind of things that children need. So you see the feeling, that's the kind of feeling I'm talking about. Exactly. For
that Christmas party.
Fine and good.
And go see Santa Claus.
Yeah. You know, school children are also having
their own Christmas
parties.
Yes. I'm aware that from today, some schools are already organizing Christmas parties and all of that. So it's a season that affects everybody.
Everybody. And people in homes like orphanage homes, like home for the aged, there are people are visiting them to say, hey, you need to also celebrate. So people are taking things to them. So everybody's feeling it. People who are selling the market are making more sales. There again, depending on what you're selling.
Because that brings me to the question of, if everyone is feeling the Christmas mood, what's the quantum of economic activities around this time, both commercial activities?
You know, our economy is largely informal, so it's difficult for you to measure in concrete terms how much economic activity we have. But definitely, we know that there's increased economic activity at this time of the year.
How will you juxtapose it? Because Nigeria's economy is just exiting a recession. 0.72% in the second quarter of this year to 1.40% in the third quarter. We've stepped over from that fragility, according to Mr. Tule, that was on yesterday. Moses Tule, the director of the Monetary Policy Department of CBN, he told me, okay, that we've stepped away from that fragility, but it doesn't mean that the economy is very strong. Economic growth is still hanging in the balance. How will this impact on a season like Christmas? Because we've seen even in previous years, by this time, a lot of activities. You know, I used to say by this time, like some years ago, I'll be seeing hampers, even personally me. Yeah, yeah, I'm telling you, I know how many hampers I would have got. Oh, Nancy, you know, they'll just deposit it in my office. Or, oh, we have a Christmas hamper for you. It has declined. That's, I'm talking of me now. It has declined. So how would it impact you know, the mood in terms of economic activities?
Okay. When the news segment was on, I listened to the correspondent and interviewed people, and a trader says, this year is even better than last year. And that is a reflection of the economy. Last year we were deep in recession by this time last year. This year we are coming out of recession, so there's improved economic activity. And that is reflecting in the market and how the traders are performing in the market. So those who couldn't give you hamper last year and claimed recession, now hold them and say, bring
Is it by force?
You need to hold them this year and say, bring the hamper. There's no recession anymore, so there's no excuse. So they must have a better reason to give you than recession for not bringing the hamper. They have to bring it.
You know, jokes apart, because the woman that my correspondent spoke to, of course, we went out to the field with 3 of my correspondents to take different views on what the holiday or Christmas season is about. That woman did say, oh, that Christmas, this season is better in terms of sales. So you mentioned earlier that it also depends on what you're selling.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Depends on what you're selling. If you're selling things that are consumable, you are likely to sell. If you are selling things that people will require to prepare for Christmas, you are most likely to sell. Let me give you an example. If you sell rice, for instance, people are buying bags and bags of rice, both for the family and the one for charity, the one they're going to give to orphanages. They're going to buy them in the market. And I should
say that perhaps we should see our local rice sales
increase
yes, this season. So definitely. We should patronize the local rice, isn't it?
Definitely. Now, if you sell something, a lot of people are going to be on the road traveling to meet families. So if you're going to use your car, for instance, and you need to check your tires, you need to be alive.
I need to buy tires.
You need to buy tire. You need to service the vehicle.
So
the mechanic, you can see how it is going around. It's a chain. It's, you know, everybody will get to feel it somehow. Now, if you buy the tire, the person who sells tire gets some money. He also will be able to go and buy new clothes for his children, or be able to buy rice, or buy, you know, other provisions that the family will require for this Christmas season. So it goes round. Everybody gets to feel it one way or the other. You just have to.
So how do you maintain that source of happiness at this time when some state governors are not paying salaries, or some have halved workers' salaries by 50%? Some, of course, some state governors have told their workers work 3 days a week and all of that. So how does a worker that hasn't got money now spend this Christmas period?
That is extremely, extremely sad. If somebody has worked, the person should be entitled to salary. In fact, it is not just it is criminal for you not to pay workers their due salary. And when you don't pay workers their salary, what do you expect them to do? To go and steal, or to go and cut corners, or do what? It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, the governor who had refused to pay is paying himself. He's collecting his security vote. He's paying his direct aids, and he's not paying the civil servants who are really, really working. It's very sad. Honestly, it will be very difficult for me to determine how people who don't collect salary will spend Christmas. Maybe they will depend on their neighbors to feed them at this time, if you have neighbors anyway, and good neighbors at that.
We've established the fact that this celebration period, or this Christmas season, one way or the other, there will be spending, one way or the other, commercial activities. What are the tips that you have to give people right now, Christmas spending tips, as it were? Because you realize that some people would have saved all through the year, save from January till about this time, and get that money to spend. So what are the nuggets that we should give our viewers today, that even as you spend for Christmas, take note of all these tips? What are they?
Well, maybe when you say we save from January to December and then we spend, that will put it mildly. We save from January to December, and in December we squander. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of people squander money, because when you ask us, how did you spend this money? We are unable to account for it. That is, for me, that is not spending. I think people should spend on necessities, things that are necessary. If it's not necessary, please keep the money. You must not spend it. Because in January, you still come back. School fees will wait for you. You must pay. Some people, their house rent will expire or will be due in January, and you are busy spending a lot of money now. You've not paid your rent in January. So by January, your landlord will come knocking. So when landlord comes, you tell landlord, "Oh, I'm sorry, I spent the rent, the money for your rent at Christmas." No, the landlord will take that. So I think people should be wise in spending. Let's spend on things that are necessary. There's no need for that extra spending for the sake of spending. I'm not saying people should not be generous this Christmas. No, people should be generous. Again, as an adult, I have enough clothes. Must I buy clothes for Christmas?
But you also want to spoil yourself during Christmas season, as it were. For those people, of course, for those of us that work, you see Christmas as a season. Oh, let me just spoil myself a little and buy for myself. Is it bad?
No, it's not bad so far as you can afford it. No amount of money you spend is bad so far as you can. The challenge is affordability. That money you want to spend, can you afford to spend it? Are there alternatives that will be more useful to you or to the family for that money? If there are, why spend it on yourself? Workers should spend money on themselves. But if you have enough clothes, must you buy extra clothes for Christmas? Christmas is one day. By the way, what is even Christmas? It's the birthday of Jesus Christ. Is it your birthday? So why don't you
want to cause a controversy now? I don't want to go into.
Okay, yeah. let's not go
is
into
it your
that.
birthday? We are talking of belief, and we are talking of what people believe in right now.
Yes.
And it's a season where, just like you said, a lot of excitement, joy, and merriment that affects everybody, including non-Christians.
Yes.
They do get gains from all of that. But let me at this point tell our viewers, in case you want to join the conversation, please feel free to send me a tweet at Nancy Ilo. Also send us a tweet, Moneyline AIT. Tell us what you think about what we're discussing right now. The next question is, how can someone achieve sanity in this atmosphere of shopping madness? Let me put it that way. Yes, because for those of us that are women, this is a period like you go to the market. How do you achieve that sanity this period?
Okay, I believe in planning, a lot in planning. Now, as a mother, as a wife, what do you want to buy this Christmas season? Can we do a list of all the items you need? Think of every conceivable thing you need for this Christmas. Have a list. And then when you go to market, you stick to that list. The challenge we have is that a lot of women buy on impulse. They're just going and they see this glass and they say, "Oh, this glass is nice." They just buy it. They didn't plan to buy glass. They probably have a lot of it at home, but maybe it's cheap or maybe it looks attractive, and they just buy it. They go home and they dump it in the cupboard just like the ones they bought before. Meanwhile, the main items on their list they've gone to buy, they may end up not buying some of them. Halfway, they get tired. They will not be able to, because the market is tight at this time. I passed around Worcester Market yesterday. Even driving into the market was
at what time was that?
About between 2 and 3 yesterday. It was crazy. Driving in was bad. I was just imagining the kind of heat in that market from human beings that are moving around. So I don't think it's a wonderful place to go. You go to supermarkets, the big supermarkets, it's not even any better.
Okay, so what I can derive from what you've said now is that we should have a budget in case when you want to start planning for Christmas, have a budget. Say, this is how much I am willing to spend this Christmas, isn't it? And spend within your limits.
Correct.
The other thing is that you start early to plan, to avoid this market rush or shopping madness, as I've put it. So start early, isn't it? The other one which you said is don't buy on impulse. And it's the only women that are guilty of impulse buying. But I know that a lot of us are guilty, as it concerns impulse buying. So it also takes you to planning. How do you plan to spend?
Yes, plan to spend start from need assessment. Assess what you need. Okay, once you get it right from the need assessment, then you should be able to plan properly and appropriately what you want to spend. Again, within the limits of your finances, because you cannot go and spend somebody else's money. Some people borrow to finance their consumption this Christmas. Some people will borrow to finance their consumption.
So another tip there is that do not borrow to spend this Christmas.
Very
Don't
correct.
Borrow. Live within your means. You know, there is a saying that I do know, and I've said it a couple of times, but I think I need to say it again, that you can't build wealth by buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. You know, while I was preparing for this program today, that saying just came back to my head that I needed to reiterate it again, because you see a lot of people, how can you even build wealth? Because what we're teaching right now is personal finance. Finance, observing personal finance around this Christmas season, which is a high spending period. You should also know that if you want to be wealthy, if you want to build or accumulate wealth, as it were, that you can't build wealth by buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. Because majority of the thing you just want to, oh, let me just buy a new car so that they will know I'm the toughest guy in town. Let me buy this bag so that they will know that I'm a designer chic, and all of that. But can you afford it? That's the question.
The people you want to impress, at the end of the day, they're impressed,
and they will never be impressed, because you keep on satisfying human beings and satisfying. So just
why digging a hole in your pocket?
Why digging a hole?
A very big one. It does not help anybody. You cannot build wealth that way. People build wealth by saving, not by spending, not by consumption. And when you're acquiring things, you acquire assets. That way, you are building wealth. You can't build wealth by spending on consumption, majorly.
Okay, for those of you watching, some tweets have come, so I need to take some of those tweets. Keep tweeting, Moneyline AIT on Twitter or Nancy on Twitter. Let's take this from Johnson. For those that are paying school fees, priority should be on school expenses against January 2018. What's this thing about school fees?
No, it's real.
A lot of our children are in private schools, isn't it?
Yes.
The public schools, do they really pay school fees? Some public schools, so perhaps they will pay some amount of fees. But most Nigerian children, or some Nigerian children, are in private schools, private primary schools, secondary schools, or what have you, universities.
Yes. It's not just the amount of money you pay as school fees. In January, you must live. You know, those who are on salary for December will come. And you know that January is the longest month for every worker. Longest, because by the time you go home, you go for Christmas, the salary for December comes a bit early. For organization that pay salary like 25th, 26th, they will likely pay their salary by 18th. Now, between 18th of December and the next 25th of January, you know, it's going to be a lot longer.
It's longer than 1 month.
Exactly. And don't forget, you have spent everything. So by the time you come back in January, you are scraping here and there. You know, you are almost stranded. You can't fuel your car because you have spent your entire salary, you know, in the previous month or preparing for Christmas. So at the end of the day, you are very, very stranded. So it's not just paying school fees. School fees is very important, because how do you explain to your child that you're unable to pay his school fees or her school fees because you went home for Christmas? That will look irresponsible, isn't it? As a parent, it will not look nice at all. Other children in school, your children is out of school because you went to spend Christmas. And maybe you should pay the school fees in advance. If possible, you pay it this December. Know that whatever change you have, whatever balance you have, is what you're going to spend for Christmas. That might just make sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about if you because we talked about shopping early, isn't it? We've seen some promotions, even the Black Friday, for example, where prices seem to be cheaper, you know. But when we come to Black Friday, perhaps I will do a show on Black Friday one of these days. It may be next year now. Black Friday too. That's the science of Black Friday, as it were. Is Black Friday actually Black Friday when prices are down? But what I'm trying to say, in essence, that you should shop early, isn't it? Shopping early. Does that mean that at the end of the day you get prices that are less, because some companies or some supermarkets, all these big stores do offer promotion sales, for example, during the season. Should you take advantage of that?
Now, I tell you something. There are some things that are not perishable. Example, if you want to buy Christmas clothes for your children, clothes are not perishable. If you buy Christmas clothes in October, those clothes will not tear. They will not spoil. They will not perish before Christmas. So there is nothing that stops one from buying Christmas clothes for the children in October. In fact, my children's clothes had already been settled long before now. My wife does not miss it. She planned between October and maybe second week in November. She had bought all the children Christmas clothes and kept in the box. And the children wouldn't know that mommy had bought their Christmas clothes. When it is a few days to Christmas, the clothes will come out. The children don't care when you buy it, whether it's in January or November or October.
They just want to see.
They just want to have their Christmas clothes. So the best is to start as early as possible. October wouldn't be a bad idea. Once you finish September school fees, then you can do the next project, which is Christmas.
How about for those that are not spending on school fees? Those people that, yes, they are not spending on school fees.
They are very lucky.
But spend on other things.
If you're not spending on school fees, then you're very lucky. That means your children are all grown. You probably wouldn't have anybody to even buy Christmas clothes for. So you just save the money and do charity. Buy clothes for children who are in need. There are a lot of needy people around. There are neighbors. That gate man in your house, what of the children? Do they have Christmas clothes? Wouldn't they be happy to have new things also? Do they have enough food to eat this Christmas? All the poor people where you worship, can their children also smile? Can their children also wear new clothes and feel good like every other child at this period? So even if you don't have your own biological children, there are other children who can also put a smile on their face.
Do you see a sense of happiness in Nigerians right now, even as we prepare for the season? Perhaps should we need a minister of happiness and purpose fulfillment?
No, naturally, Nigerians are very happy people. Naturally, the kind of things.
But I think we've dropped. You know, there's a happiness index. We've dropped to about 100 and something on the happiness index. But before, years ago, we used to be among the top 3 happy people in the world, despite all the challenges, economic challenges, and what have you.
I will tell you the kind of economic hardship Nigerians have gone through in the past 1 year or 2. In other places, the suicide rate would have been critically high.
But the suicide rates are even getting higher now.
No, but it's not comparable to what you can get in other climes. Yes.
But we don't need to brush up the fact that suicidal rates are increasing. There's no week or 2 weeks you won't hear.
Not hear.
Yes.
Yeah, somewhere.
Was it like 2 weeks ago? I saw a report that a young guy committed suicide, just hung himself on the tree and put a note there that he couldn't cope with life again. So why is there a need to live? That the life is useless, so he better ends it.
No, yeah. Now having a minister for happiness, would that make us happy?
No, I'm not saying we should have a minister of happiness
or a minister for happiness.
That, for example, there's a commissioner for happiness and purpose fulfillment in Imo State. Perhaps Imo indigenes will be happier this Christmas season. Perhaps I'm just saying that.
Yeah, maybe in January we can do a survey people in Imo State, survey people in other places, and see whether they're actually happier than people from other places. If they're happier, then we can think of replicating it at the national level. But otherwise, maybe maybe you can advise that state
Ministry
governor.
of Happiness and Purpose Fulfillment. Okay, this country quite a whole lot to talk about. Let's go ahead with the tweets. Awosholangalo says your guest has said it all, especially when he asked, "Is it your birthday?" It's just the truth. You don't borrow to marry, lest you run to poverty. You don't borrow to marry.
Very correct. He could not have put it in any better form. You don't borrow to marry. You don't borrow to party. Because party is not an investment. When you borrow, you must pay back.
And yes, what you just said about party now brings to my mind, because this season is going to be a season of parties, a season of weddings, a season of birthdays, a season of different celebrations, anniversary, and you will be seeing a lot of ashwebis. which we women are guilty about. A lot of ashwebis. You come to a woman's wardrobe, the ashwebis she has invested in. Ashwebis mean what? Family clothes.
Yeah.
You know, as it were. What I mean, that uniform will run guilty of it also this year, this Christmas period, isn't it?
Definitely.
Must you buy ashwebi as a woman? I don't know about the men. The men now put ashwebi cap. They do caps for you.
I just tell you one thing. You can make it your policy. I don't sell, I don't buy. As a person, if you are going to celebrate your whatever anniversary, people expect you, or your grandfather who died 10 years ago, you want to do memorial, exactly. And you call all your friends, all your colleagues, oh, come and buy ashwebi. They buy. When it is their turn, you also duty bound to buy. If when you are celebrating your great grandfather, you did not ask anybody to buy. When they all celebrate and bring to you, say, I'm not buying. I don't buy. So that way you stay away. But once
selling
you make
ashwebi somehow too is a way of raising money for some people. Because for example, if you buy your ashwebi 1,000 naira from the market, you sell it to people 1,500 or 2,000 naira.
Very good.
You are making money too.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying it is not good to make money. I'm not saying you that you are spending, can you afford to buy it? That's just where my issue comes. Affordability. And when you buy those things, you buy it that day, you buy it for that occasion, you wear it for that occasion. Do you come round to wearing that clothes again? Women are guilty in this regard. Example, maybe that's an extreme case. Wedding gown. How many women have come back to wear the wedding gown after the wedding day? Never.
And you spend a lot of money.
And they spend a lot of money. Men will come back, wear their wedding suit, and go to work.
So what should you do as a woman if you have a wedding gown or you're preparing for a wedding this period? Should you buy a wedding gown? Why not go renting a wedding gown? You can rent,
yeah, exactly.
Or if you buy a wedding gown, you can also give out your new wedding gown for people to rent.
For other people to rent. And then you can keep some of the cost. That's being economic. That is just being,
financially prudent. Okay, let's take this tweet. Oloju says, who goes are borrowing, goes are sorrowing. In this season of Christmas, it is not a wise decision.
There again, very, very true. So it's like Nigerians understand that we cannot borrow to finance consumption.
I hope we understand it very well. I do hope we understand it very well. Because a lot of Nigerians are still vulnerable and susceptible to not having enough financial education and financial literacy in terms of managing their personal finance. Some Nigerians are of the view, once I get money now, let me spend it. Tomorrow will take care of itself.
But does tomorrow take care of itself? Hardly.
Or God will take care of me tomorrow.
Yeah, but
or God believe in that miracle. Yes, believe in the miracle, that miracles. Hey, pray, miracle money will come.
No, the God that gave you money today also gave you brain and sense.
To be able to spend.
To spend some today
invest,
and spend some
save.
tomorrow. And, save, invest, so you have more. So, I mean, you'll be mocking God to hope that he gives you money today, then tomorrow you give you again and you have not done nothing. The one he gave you, you can't account for it. God is not man.
All right, just as we end the program, what are your final thoughts on this Christmas spending, holiday season? What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts?
Traveling, for example, we'll even be making a lot of calls this season. So just like you said, it's a circulation of commercial activities. Network providers will be having, I guess they will be raking in more revenue. And I also want to say at this point that network providers and networks are always not working well during Christmas.
No, it's not like it doesn't work well. But maybe so there's traffic.
Jam.
Yeah, the traffic gets heavier.
And so they should prepare for the season.
Exactly. And frustrate the consumers a little less. People get frustrated. They try to get people, they can't get them on phone, and they get sometimes an emergency and you cannot get through.
But that brings us also to the aspect of during this season, must you also send text messages on the network providers, for example, in a bit of saving money, so you can use some of these online apps, free messages, free calls,
yes,
and all of that. So instead of you spending your credits, as it were, recharge card and data, you can do most of this online
other
of communication.
Yeah, it's just for us to be a bit financially prudent or wise and find ways. Every angle you can save money from. You can save 2 naira. Save it. It will add up. 5 naira doesn't make sense, but when you have 5 naira into 1 million places, it makes sense. It begins to add up. So at this season, I would just advise everybody: spend what you have for what you have planned to spend. Stay within your limit of what you have planned to spend. Spend on things that are necessary. Don't borrow to finance any consumption at this season, especially if you cannot afford to pay. And most importantly, remember that there will always be another Christmas.
There would be many Christmases,
Exactly.
if there's anything like that. Okay, let's take this comment. Eze says one should be very prudent over finance management, especially this Utah period, as it must hit hard in January. Fantastic comment. Don't spend for consumption. That brings me to the issue of Nigeria. We are spending, we are consuming. We are borrowing for consumption. But anyway, that's the much we can take on today's edition of the program. I hope you've gotten a few tips on how to make you undertake financial prudence, as it were, this season. A lot of tips. Have a budget, have a plan, don't deviate from the plan, start shopping early, take advantage of some of the promotion like sales and all of that. Then don't buy on impulse, especially for women. Reduce your ashwebi buying and all of that, you know. Quite a whole lot that we've said. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas too to you. I wish you and your family the best.
Thank you very much.
Of the Christmas season in 2018.
Thank you.
All right, many thanks for your tweets and your questions, your comments on Twitter and on Facebook. That's the much we can take on this edition of the program. In fact, I'm surprised I'm able to coast to the end of the show because I suffered a cold yesterday, so I'm still trying to battle the weather, you know, natural weather, economic weather, and all of that. But anyway, we'll join us again tomorrow, God willing. Be the best you can be and be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy NNAJI. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye now.